Why don't you tell us very briefly, who is Franklin Warens?
Franklin Warens, a first generation Cuban here in the U.S. I got so blessed that, came over when I was about 10 years old or so and got handed this blank sheet of paper that I was able to kind of fill my hopes and dreams on. I've always had a passion for finances. Very young at 19, I started working at the bank up and kind of just very fascinated. And I really wanted to grow in that banking and that finance industry because I just saw so much potential in the financial services industry. A majority of people who become millionaires do so through real estate. And that's what kind of piqued my interest to transition from the financial advisor role that I foresaw myself in the future to go into real estate. But my biggest fear is how the heck am I going to get some families to help? I'm just starting out. I don't know how to close a loan or do so many things yet, but ultimately some families start trusting you because of the person and character that you are.
Out of all of your experience you've had, what has been the 3 most important key takeaways for your success?
Today, I'm really excited to have Franklin Warens on another episode of Pick Up the Phone podcast. He shares how he left his corporate job at 26 years old, being a high performer at that job, starting off with helping families. He went from helping 7 families in 1 year to helping over 100 families in another year. He's going to talk about how he scaled a large organization with a ton of people using the EOS model, the entrepreneur operating system. He's going to be talking about how he closed over 12 million in production in 1 month. And he's going to be talking about how he's on track to build a multiple 7-figure business that's generating over multiple 7 figures in a year. So I'm really excited to share all of this with Franklin. He's got an amazing story, how he came over from Cuba as a very young man, as a very young boy. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy this story, everything that we talked about, and you guys are going to get a ton of value from it. So again, like always, please like the video, comment on it, subscribe, and I want to hear some feedback. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys want to hear more of, and I can't wait for you guys to see this video.
Welcome to another episode of Pick Up the Phone podcast. Today's guest is Franklin Warens with Warens Financial Group. Pick up the phone, where every solution is only a phone call away. So Franklin, welcome here, bro.
Yeah, excited to be here. Excited to be with you, and let's talk some shop, man. This is something that Josue and I do very often. Being very close friends. So
yeah,
looking forward to sharing any value that we can with you guys.
I'm very excited about it, bro. And we've traveled a lot. We've had a lot of conversations, and I feel like every time we're, in a private setting, it's always about business, right? It's always about growth. It's always about offering value to each other and also helping each other through any struggles that we're having. So I think we're going to have a good time today talking about all those things, especially offering value to anyone that's listening to this episode. So
yeah, absolutely.
Let's get started, bro. Why don't you tell us very briefly, who is Franklin Warens?
Man, Franklin Warens, a first generation Cuban here in the U.S. I got so blessed that came over when I was about 10 years old or so and got handed this blank sheet of paper that I was able to kind of fill my hopes and dreams on. So super blessed that I was able to join an industry with individuals such as Josue that look to empower each other. We're always looking like we mentioned to add value and I mean really just focus on growth for ourselves and others. Right now I lead a boutique mortgage brokerage company in Houston, Texas. We're about 30 strong right now, and God willing, by the end of the year, and I'll share some of those experiences about how I got there with you guys. Looking to be the number 1 boutique mortgage broker in the Houston, Texas area.
I love that. And hopefully future in the nation, right?
God willing.
Yeah. I definitely see it. So let's get started with understanding your journey, right? Like how did you get to this point where you're at? Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your biggest wins in your organization? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And if it's okay, I'd like to go back about, back to how we got to this point also, and how I was able to grow to this point. And I've always, had a passion for finances. Very young at 19, I started working at the bank up and kind of just very fascinated. And I started as one of those tellers counting 20s back to clients. Here's 20, 40, 60, here's your cash. And I'd see these big balances and all that. And I really wanted to grow in that banking and that finance industry because I just saw that, so much potential in the financial services industry. Fast forward a couple years later, started working up my way through the chain of command at Chase Bank, and all the way until J.P. Morgan, from a teller, then a banker, then what we call a relationship banker, which is when you go out and you get a couple licenses, Series 663 in life and health, and that's when you start learning a little bit more about securities and finance and the investment world and retirement planning and all those things. Then I was really blessed to be given opportunities to be a manager on duty and business banker. And then in the business banker roles, whenever I started talking to business owners, and something that really fascinated me about a business owner is kind of like this entrepreneur mindset that we have to have as well, right? Very go-getter mentality that nothing's given to you. You have to go out there and put in the work for it. I continued progressing in those roles, and then became a private client banker where I was helping more so affluent households.
Mm-hmm.
And what I noticed about the affluent households, they typically got there one of several ways, but the one that really stuck out for me the most was as I was this financial advisor-ish, a banker, trying to get them to move their their investments or their assets from another bank to Chase to continue to grow our book of business, was that most of them were real estate investors, right? A majority of people who become millionaires do so through real estate. And they were also the most stubborn whenever I would try to get them to commit to go do anything type of like securities related, or your any index funds and any kind of offering a CD. They just knew that their capital was so much better at play, right? And obviously it's real estate investors' opinion as well. Whoever you ask is going to tell you something different. An advisor will tell you something different.
Right.
But I kept noticing that these guys just kind of had this grand life, with a lot of flexibility and freedom, through real estate. And that's what kind of piqued my interest to ultimately transition from the financial advisor role that I foresaw myself in the future to go into real estate.
Wow.
And that journey ended up that it took me into lending, right?
So fast forward, then you're working as a teller, you're working at a bank, you're working your way up. You're obviously very successful there. Let's talk about the journey into actually being a lender. How did that happen? How did that transition take place? Because Franklin, let's be real. I mean, there's a lot of people that are in a corporate world right now, right? Mm-hmm. That are in a 9-to-5, that they want to jump into entrepreneurship. They want to pursue this journey, but it's not for, the weak.
It's not for the weak of heart.
Right? So it takes a lot of courage, right? I spoke to Cody about this yesterday. And let's talk a little bit about that. Like, what did it take for you mentally and from a mindset wise to say, you know what, I can do it, right? How did that transition happen for you?
And I get goosebumps just kind of thinking back at that time, about 5 years ago when I finally took that leap of faith, guys. And that's what it is. You got to take the leap of faith in yourself, and have that self-belief and diminished doubts. The banking or whatever the 9-to-5 might be, or the 5 to whatever, it's what I call the golden handcuffs that kind of like our societal norms has created for a lot of people.
Yep.
Given there, obviously there's a place for everybody, and ultimately the biggest success for me is going to be happiness. If you have happiness in what you're doing, I wish you the best. I'm like, you cracked the code, you figured it out, continue doing what you're doing there and building on that. You don't have to become an entrepreneur and make millions of dollars to be defined, as success or anything like that. Success can be defined many different ways, but I got to a point in my career where I literally got a Wolf of Wall Streeted up. Great friend of mine at the time who then became my mentor, and I talk about him all the time. His name is Jesus Hernandez. We went out for some margaritas at Gringos, and I said, hey, Jesus, how's it going for you right now? You're in the loan officer world. I'm over here working at Chase, and I'm out, absolutely crushing it. I'm 25, 26 at the time, and doing really well. Just kind of started six-figure income, which I thought I was like, this is it. I got it. Life is great. And it was.
I mean, you're 26 years old and you're crushing it, right?
Absolutely crushing it, right? One of the top bankers in the nation out of here from Houston. So blessed with life. And I'm giving it my all. I was the type of worker that my managers would literally have to tell me, hey, you're supposed to get off today at 5. I'm like, well, the bank doesn't close until 6. Can I stay and make a couple more calls?
Yeah.
So it's that go-getter, go-getter mindset that really helped. And we went out, and Jesus like, you know what, bud? I think you'd be a great loan officer. I'm like, I was thinking about doing real estate. A Bigger Pockets podcast was out at the time, and everybody's like, Brandon Turner, and I'm gonna do the Burr method and buy, rent, and I got a little bit of money saved up in my 401k, and Jesus goes, nah, you don't want to do all that. If you were a realtor, you might have to drive around. And there's some, really incredible, successful real estate agents who go through and become, investors, which is what we call the progression or the evolution of real estate. Sometimes, right? You kind of have to start somewhere and evolve to that solopreneur, entrepreneur, investor field.
Right.
And I said, hey, Jesus, listen, man, if I look up how much a loan officer makes a year, Google's telling me you guys make like 50, 60K. I'm like, I'm doing a little bit better than that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. And if, going back to Wolf of Wall Street, if you guys remember, if those of you have seen the movie at this point, this, Donnie and the Wolf are at a coffee shop, and Donnie Big Buck Tooth comes up and he's like, show me a check for $72,000 and I'll come work for you. I'll quit my job and come work for you
right now.
And Jesus didn't have a check to pull out of his backpack or anything, but he pulled out his phone and he showed me, on Zelle, the wires and quick pays and everything. And it amounted to, a little bit over 50, we'll call it. And I was like, you know what?
Or 50K.
Yeah.
Within the last month or so?
Within the last 30 days or so. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Done.
Say less.
I've never seen that in my life.
600 grand a year. That's what it is.
Yeah. So I said, I'm in. I'll be there on Monday. I spent 2 weeks seeing what was a shit show of what the lending is. It's a very tough game,
Yeah.
And nothing was closing in the beginning of that first week or so. Families were crying on the phone, extensions on houses, and files were falling through because whatever scenario may have happened, people lose their jobs or open credit or, get upset with their spouses. So many different scenarios, and I'm like, this is nuts. This has to be a lie, right?
Yeah, this is bullshit.
This is bullshit.
There's no way.
I'm out of here. I'm gonna give this 2 more days and I'm out of here. Well, let me tell you, in those last 2 days, I saw the closings begin to happen and the wires and checks start coming in, and I'm like, okay,
all right,
I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah.
So this was back in 2019.
And how did you know Jesus at the time?
So Jesus was my friend and mentor whenever I started working at JP Morgan as a personal banker.
Yeah.
Several years before that also. So we always maintained in contact, and it ultimately got to the point where I said, yeah, I'll come work for you.
Yeah.
And that relationship developed. Jesus and I have done so much since then and empowered and helped so many families. We've hired, dozens of employees, and we've done so many things together, from me working to for Jesus as his mentee, to us opening up branches together and hiring dozens of people and creating a mortgage broker shop, and ultimately splitting ways, but still very, being very close friends. So we're able to mastermind and collaborate together on a lot of things. We speak at least, we have a meeting at least once a month still.
I love that. Yeah. And I think that speaks volume to your character and the kind of person that you are, right? Because so many people go through business and very easily start saying the opposite thing. Man, that business partner, F that guy, right? Or that business partner screwed me over. And for you to be able to part ways with that business partner, and shout out to Jesus too, because I love the guy, great guy, and be able to sit here and say, hey man, this was a part of my journey, great guy, taught me a lot, and parted ways, we're still friends, still mastermind. I think that's speaks volumes to your character. So shout out Franklin.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk now about so you're there at that point, and you're like, okay, it's time for me to. And I remember this transition too, by the way. But for everyone that's listening, let's talk a little bit about how you went into now. Okay, you are partnered up with Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're there, you're working with him, but now it's time for me to go on my own way, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's another step mentally, right? A big mindset jump now. So let's talk about overcoming those obstacles, those fears, right? And having that courage now to jump now to saying, hey, I'm going to go and do my own thing 100%, where you're 100% owner. What was that like for you?
And it takes so much, right? So you take the leap of faith, you start doing and investing in something new. Thankfully, I had the mentorship from an amazing loan officer, which of course was Jesus. And I remember starting in 2019, and my biggest fear at the time, it changes so much as you're evolving through this entrepreneurship journey, right? But my biggest fear is how the heck am I going to get some families to help? Nobody knows, what I'm doing in this industry. I'm completely new. I'm just starting out. I don't know how to close a loan or do so many things yet. But ultimately, some families start trusting you because of the person and character that you are. And then you just kind of get your hands dirty, right? You get some blood, sweat, and tears and some sweat equity in the game. And you start finding ways to figure out how to help these families. So 2019, My goal was to help 10 families that year. I think I did 7 just kind of because it was towards the end of the year. And I was very excited about that. Then 2020 starts up, and we all know what happened in 2020, starting kind of February or March. COVID hits, right?
Yeah.
The banks start shutting down, and everybody's thinking in many industries that this is going to be like the worst thing, that's this catastrophe that's about to happen. Little did we know that on the lending wave, it was going to be one of the most,
Profitable.
one of the most profitable things that could potentially. So I rode that wave. I mean, in 2020, I helped 55 families, which that's a decent number for your first year.
Yeah.
2021.
What does that equate to in about revenue or
in commissions? If I remember, it was roughly a little bit over 200,000 or so. Right? 200K or so. Yeah.
So that's the revenue that you made for yourself.
For myself that year. And I'll tell you, but I didn't start closing any families until May. Because everything that was happening in January, February, March, we had to transition companies and so many different things because of what was happening with COVID and restrictions and guidelines.
Yeah.
And then in August of that year, I helped 14 families, and it was my first
in August
of 2020.
Alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like my first $50-something thousand month, and I go, Mom, I made it.
Yeah. Should I buy my Ferrari now or later?
Yeah. I'm like, here we go. Started, buying me a couple nice things as kind of like achievements or accomplishments for some goals that I set for myself, and then making sure that I would put some money away to what I really want to do was like, okay, I think this hasn't even been a full year, but I have some proof of concept that I can close 14 loans. That's pretty great. Then the year after that, in 2021, I helped about 120 families or so. At that point, I'm like, okay, we need to start growing a team.
Yeah. Got to reinvest all that right back into the business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you start doing an investment of time and capital into other people. They're your brain babies, the same way that I was for my mentor then. And we started just duplicating ourselves through other people so we can have a further reach and help and be able to help more families.
Yeah.
So the transition went from loan officer to like kind of team leader, right? That I had. Yeah, a loan officer assistant and another loan officer that helped me help families, and then we started creating a processing team and a processor assistant that would handle the documentation on the file. So everything from A to Z, from talking to the client on that first initial call, motivating and empower them to apply and find out where they're at, either giving them a plan of action or getting them pre-approved to be able to move forward, all the way to helping them through the contract and everything that's needed, insurance, taxes, paperwork, all the way through closing and beyond, right? We call them client for life because we'll still do check-ins, general check-ins throughout to make sure that they're doing the right things to continue building wealth for their family through real estate. Yeah. Even if it's just a primary residence. Yeah. So that's
and everyone should continue buying real estate, right? So if they buy from you once, it makes sense to keep in touch with them and make sure that their financials stay in order so that they can keep on purchasing properties, building their wealth through real estate.
Absolutely.
So I love that. Let's talk. So that was right around what year? 2021, 2022?
2020. So we're talking 2020, 2021, and 22 is whenever we
when did you start scaling and actually like hiring people?
We created a branch with myself and 2 other partners, and then we started kind of building our own mini teams, right, within that branch, where we started scaling a lot bigger. That was through a retail organization called Guaranteed Rate, and we did really, really well with them. They gave us a lot of different tools and processes and systems and everything that we needed to begin scaling. And then it got to a point where we decided to transition from the retail world to what we call the broker channel, where we do have a little bit more flexibility and leeway on how we want to scale. It's kind of like you pick the options that you want to grow with.
What's the difference between the two?
Typically on the retail side, and there's some great retail lenders out there and some amazing loan officers that work for these retail lenders. But I would say what's different between the retail and the broker side, typically a pricing standpoint, on the broker side, pricing is a little bit better. We do have a lot more flexibility because we're not working with one direct wholesale lender. Like if you work for Chase, you can only do your loan at Chase. Right. If you're a broker, you can use different banks and different credit unions and different lenders, and they all have different niches and an appetite for different consumers, clients, or families that we're helping. They're okay with, some of them give specific pricing for those people who have a lower credit. All right. Some of them have niches for down payment assistance. Some like, your high 800 credit score, putting 20, 30, 40, 50% down, and they'll give you a better rate that way. Whenever you go directly with the bank, just kind of, they have a little bit of everything, but not all the bells and whistles, shine appropriately, because obviously their investors have an appetite for something specific that they're looking for.
So then you're able to create an avatar for every single bank and be able to know this bank specializes in this niche. So therefore, Mr. Client, you fit into this bank right here. They're going to give you the best rate.
So that client, they may have not have gotten approved somewhere else, or not gotten approved for exactly what, maybe a different price point that they were looking for, or an interest rate. We could potentially find them a lower rate, or a down payment assistance program, or any kind of specialty program that bank, a specific bank, may not have been offering. And sometimes they do. They get really competitive with very specific things. But the great thing about us is we can get competitive with everything, not anything specific, because we have those relationships.
I love that. When did you start Warens Financial Group?
So Warens Financial Group started last January, actually. Yeah,
2024.
2024. Yeah, so
Beautiful.
it's been 1 year in inception, and I mean, we're blessed and highly favored. We have such an incredible team. We helped 44 families last month, which was around $12 million in funding, and that's not normal for a boutique mortgage broker shopping. And we're scaling so much with these incredible individuals that we have on the team, and some other ones that are joining on board right now, that we're gonna take over slowly but surely.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. How many total employees do you have now?
So we just hit 30, which
30?
is a milestone that comes with some growing pains in entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
30 employees. We've been really lucky that we've put the time, and we're trying to grow it correctly, not too fast, because we don't want a wildfire to kind of spread, but making sure we have the right systems and processes in place when it comes to training and scaling somebody's business, getting them with the right partners. So 30 employees is a good number that we're likely going to hold for the next few months or so, because our job is we want the people who join us to scale their business, right? We're not just hiring to hire and letting everybody come in. And I know you've seen this. There's a couple people that we've discussed. They're like, hey, they have their license, or they want to get into this world. They're really interested. It's not that simple. It doesn't just work like that. Yeah,
not at all. It's a process, and you need to bring on the right people only. So 30 people in your office now. Let's talk about some of your biggest wins. What's the most amount of money that you've seen in any given year through your businesses?
It's in the multiple seven figures, on the lower multiple seven figures, lower to mid multiple seven figures, but everything comes with scalability. As the team continues to grow, so will the revenue, right?
Yeah.
Now, the great thing that I really love is I don't want to take a whole bite out of a grape. I'll take a small bite out of a watermelon.
Yeah.
If the rest of the team is eating and doing well, then everything's going to be okay up top also.
Yeah.
It does come with, as an entrepreneur, you are the last to eat. As a boss, you're the last to eat.
Yeah. And you carry all the risk too.
You carry all the risk, and you're the first one to reinvest. I've gone multiple months as luxurious as some people can make it seem, or look at me, and then the lifestyle that I enjoy, which comes with a lot of freedom that I've set up for myself as well. There's been multiple months that, and this is not something that you're telling your employees on a day-to-day, and they don't know what's on the account or what's
sometimes you take a loss.
Sometimes you take a no.
Yeah.
I think the best entrepreneurs are the ones who take the most L's, and they're learning opportunities,
Right.
Yeah.
You got to keep on going, even though you're going through failure sometimes. And
absolutely.
Come up on the other side now, more knowledgeable, with more experience, more wisdom, so you can make the right decision next time. So, man, I think that's absolutely incredible. The entire journey. Let's talk about some of your biggest challenges that you're having right now. Right, it seems like you're growing a lot. You're having a lot of people. What are some of your biggest challenges right now? Maybe in recruiting or with people. Like, what is your biggest challenge in your business right now?
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought recruiting up. I mean, we're in a people managing business too. As the team continues to grow, everybody has different beliefs and more compasses and ways they like doing things. And again, we try to systematize, but we're not going to micromanage everybody that comes in. So what our job is to kind of set a foundation for the people who are there to scale, whether they're in operations or in sales. One of the challenges is we want to make sure that we do take our time now, which is something that we've learned, a little bit earlier on, that we're hiring and firing the right way. And we don't have a lot of attrition. We actually most of the people that come in, we haven't had to let many people go in the years that I've been in business. It's only been 3,
Yeah.
and we're still very amicable, and they're very thankful for the opportunity that they had
Yeah.
with the company, which means that we're doing something right. Like they'll
Right.
reach out to this day with messages like, "Hey, I'm so thankful about the journey of the little bit of time that I spent with you guys." But hiring, I mean, hiring is something that I didn't know how to do really well at first, and it kind of started with friends and family, and it's whenever you do friends and family, sometimes you forget in the beginning how to set the right expectations of what's expected. What do you bring to the table? What are they supposed to bring to the table? What are you going to do, and what are they supposed to do, and what are you supposed to do together? But that's something that we're overcoming, and finding the right people is it's tough. We're lucky that some people find us and reach out, and then we hold interviews and build some rapport and bring them in.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, some people can interview really, really well,
Right.
and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be your next killer and everything.
How have you gotten better at hiring better people over time?
I have a business coach. His name is Scott Groves. He's one of the top
What's
lending.
his name?
Scott Groves. He's
Scott Gross. Okay.
one of the top lending coaches in the U.S. and he coaches branch managers and company owners and everything in between. And Scott has helped me with my business and even some personal development. And he gives me a lot of tips and tricks on the best way that he's found that he's done it, right? And nobody has the perfect answer.
Can you share some tips and tricks?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, his thing was hiring slow and firing fast. That's a really, really big one. Making sure that you're not just looking at a resume, but doing research on somebody, whether it's through social media channels, actually calling, their partners who referred them or recommended them, seeing if you have anybody in common that you can reach out to. And the type of interview style that we do, it's not like, hey, what's your greatest weakness?
Yeah.
We do bring some of those things up, but we want to know how somebody kind of reacts on a day to day in this type of industry that we're in. What would happen if this scenario came up, or and then also we want to find out what motivates people, because everybody's motivated by something different.
Yeah.
And in this business that we're in, don't get me wrong, most of us are motivated by money
Yeah.
and success, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a really big one. But at the end of the day, there's always some intrinsic values that are really are we're going to get you out of bed. It gets to a point where you're making a certain amount of money and you're like, this is not bringing me the same joy and happiness
Yeah.
that it was.
So what motivates you, Franklin?
Oh man, what really motivates me is seeing. I have a saying that which is, I want to build my business around the lifestyle that I want to live. Freedom motivates me. My family, right? Getting healthier and focusing on that. Seeing my team develop and handle, and handle challenges. My team wants to grow, and whenever you're asking for growth, you're going to be given challenges to overcome. So I like to be there to help them with leadership, mindset, development. Even file structuring, whatever it may take to see them get to that next level. And it could be anything from, helping them become a better loan officer, or helping them become a better team leader, or giving them and trying to point them in the right decision as best as my opinion might be to get healthier, or, become more, whatever. It depends on the goals that they're setting for themselves.
Yeah. I love that. Seeing people win also is it's a huge thing for me. Like, I love seeing people get to that next level, overcome barriers. Especially with my business, I love seeing my employees just constantly learn new things and being challenged, bringing in that next tier of revenue for them. It's beautiful to see.
And I know we've discussed this. Josue and I had this beautiful conversation, and I think we were like in the Philippines somewhere in a beach, and one of the things that we discussed at the time is we had really I went through and Josue went through it, where we went a transition in life from health to wealth, right? And it gets to a point where you kind of let yourself go, which health is the foundation of a lot of different things in life, as we've found out. And we kind of had let some of our health go, and kind of coming back around and investing time, because some people become very wealthy and they try to buy their health, and that's not necessarily the best play. I mean, it requires an investment of time and mindset as well to get you to that level. And you're an inspiration when it comes to that. Like, you're so consistent. You're one of the most consistent individuals that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think health should always come first for most people, and it baffles me to see some people talk so much about wealth and success and all these things, and then you look at them and they don't look healthy, right? And
Can't cash checks from the grave, you know?
no, you can't, but not only that, like, for example, if you're overweight, not knocking, body shaming anyone, but man, you can't enjoy life. You can't go for a run. When I was fat and overweight, and this was, like maybe 5-6 years ago, I used to weigh like 260 pounds, something like that. I was ginormous. Man, I felt sluggish, right? Depressed, and that's not the right way to enjoy life.
Right.
It's all about having this energy and charisma for life. Passion. You can't have that if you have all this extra weight on you. So I'm really glad that we've after that trip, we definitely got on our ball, and we've made a lot of strides there already. So. But Franklin, you mentioned something else, man, that I'm actually really curious about. I love systems and processes. I think like I've already talked to you about systems and processes quite a bit. But can you share some of the most helpful systems and processes that you've seen in your business that are helping you right now?
So I feel like if you can track it, you can grow it, right? So
where focus goes, energy flows.
Absolutely. So we track what are the non-negotiables for our sales team, which is pick up the phone, right? How many calls are you making? Everything has a numeric value into a certain conversion, especially with us, and our conversion is a lot higher than industry average. So not only do we track the calls that are inbound and outbound, how many what we call leads that are coming in, and then ultimately what we want to do is we want to turn that lead into a client. We want to be able to motivate them to find out, like I mentioned earlier, exactly what they qualify for, what programs are available or not. If they do have down payment assistance, if they need to be put on some type of action plan, if they need some credit help or some help with their taxes, we have the right partners to do all those things. If we have to put them on a savings plan, or if they're ready to start building wealth through real estate right away, whether it's their first primary or they're looking to do any kind of house hacking, we're very, very well versed in different things. Me being an investor like yourself here in the Houston area, having a little bit of everything from single family, multi, small apartment complexes, etc. We've been able to dab and understand, and that's something that we coach to the team so they can then pass that along to the families that we're helping. So then we go from, how many applicants came in, and we track on the pre-approval ratios. How many people were we able to get pre-approved, and how many of those turned into a contract that ultimately is a family purchasing a home and building wealth through real estate. So those are our main metrics that we're tracking right now.
Yeah. And obviously you want to always decrease that conversion rate. So you want to make sure that you're closing more deals per number of calls that you're making.
Absolutely.
Right? So I think that's a really good metric to hold your team to.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something about that industry average right now. Let's say if you get 10 applicants or so, right, in that month, you're supposed to pre-approve about 2 or 3 of them, which is 20-30% conversion. Okay. And most people who I've seen or brought onto the team, and some loan officer that I talked to, they're doing a little bit less. They're doing about 10-15% conversion. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So we've been on a 4-month, what's 3.5 months now. It literally started the last week of December of over 50% conversion on everybody that applies with us.
50%?
Over 50% conversion.
Shit.
Yeah, and
that's high.
Yeah, and I'm not saying 60s. I'm like, there's literally 53, 54, 57, 52. That's what we're seeing week over week over week over week.
What do you think is attributing that success for you?
It's been I've always been very geeky and analytical, and I've learned from a lot of top loan officers, a lot of different tricks and trips and ways to structure a file much more so than your ordinary ordinary loan officer. Mm-hmm. So I can't divulge exactly what some of those tricks are, but obviously everything within the guidelines, everything within the law of what this system that we use is called automatic underwriting systems that views at the risk, right? The risk of that client whenever we're looking at, their credit. And it not only does it look at their credit, but it looks like what items do they have on their credit, right? Is it somebody who's have a 780 credit score and they have 2 credit cards that they open up within a year? Mm-hmm. That's a really high score, but it's very weak. Sometimes a client that has the 2 homes and several vehicles and multiple credit cards, and they might have a late payment or 2 and their credit's in the 660. It's going to have a higher approval odd sometimes than that 780 that has those 2 credit cards.
Right.
Then we take a look at income as well. Income's a big factor on how much you're going to qualify for, because between your credit, those debts, and the income that you're bringing in, that's going to determine your ability to repay that asset, that mortgage or that liability, whatever depending on what you're purchasing, whether it's an investment or something for your family. And then in income, there's different breaks that some people loan officers don't necessarily notice that the system is reviewing as far as risk. Like, what type of industry are you in? Are you a W-2 employee that's on a salary?
Yeah.
Are you a W-2 employee that's variable and you do sales, right? So your income's kind of coming up and down through time that you have to take into account. Are you self-employed? Did you just start, or do you have a company that you've been running for 3, 5, 10, 15, 30 years?
There seems to be like a shit ton of variables when it comes to actually qualifying a loan, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get to the point where you're able to figure out all these different variables and be able to say, okay, based on all these different variables, this is how we can make a deal work? What does that take?
So it took practice.
Okay.
It took ingenuity, and it took definitely reaching out to, I've never been afraid to ask for help, reaching out to other people
Yeah.
to run a scenario by them to see if they have something. And not every time you reach out to somebody with, these kind of kooky, weird scenarios that would come up for me, did we find a way to do it. But ultimately, after doing it enough, I'm talking thousands and thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of times.
Yeah.
I've talked to, in the last couple of years, over 10,000 clients at least, just myself. I mean, I imagine now the team that we have, just how big our reach is, how many families we're talking to every month.
Yeah.
So it definitely took some ingenuity. Looking at that, different variables in the credit and the income and how to structure assets, where the funds are coming from, what it was okay with, and practicing, man.
Yeah. I love that. Let me ask you a question. Out of all of your experience that you've had, what has been the 3 most important key takeaways for your success?
Well, that's a great question. Really putting me on the spot on that one, but I can tell you whatever comes to mind first, right? It's not something that I've necessarily have logged in. I'll tell you, consistency is a huge one, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Going back to it, just staying consistency. Consistency beats so many different things in life. I can't even tell you motivation or no. Consistency will create everything. It'll create discipline. It'll create
the habits. Everything.
Create the habits and rituals that will take you to that point, right? The other one is creating the right team.
Creating the right team.
Creating the right team has been a huge win for me. Anything from, we have some middle management, unlike some other mortgage brokers. We have some middle management. I have a COO. Her name is Adriana Gomez, and she does so many things for the company. I mean, she's just absolutely incredible. She was my first hire. Been with me for about 4 years or so, and I've known Adriana for over a decade now.
Okay.
We worked at the bank together. I mean, she runs operations, hiring, firing, training, delegates, compliance, 1,001 things that she's good at. She's getting ready to kind of, bring an assistant in on her own.
Wow.
For us. We have a VP of sales, right, who provides development, coaching, recruitment as well, acquisitions of loan officers, and helps with scalability and creates practice. He's the one who tracks all our KPIs.
Really?
He's the one who tracks all of our metrics, right? Because it's not something that I would create the time to.
What's his position?
To do myself. VP of sales.
VP of sales.
VP of sales.
So he keeps track of all the KPIs.
Yep. And then from that is the hierarchy continues as team leaders, right? Team leaders in processing, and then team leaders and loan officers who have, junior LOs or loan officers or loan officer assistants that work for them.
Yeah.
In processing, they have processor assistants or loan managers on either side. And making sure we have the right people in the right seats. I mean, I held the, we know about entrepreneur operating systems. I have a level 10 meeting every Tuesday.
Yeah.
At 10 with my leadership team, and we discuss how the inefficiencies that we're going. We're looking at the growing pains, what are wins, personal win, everything. And then whenever you do all these things, it's not just talking about them, right? Because a lot of entrepreneurs have a lot of these really great ideas, and I should market, and I should do social media, and I should do a mail. Almost anything will work with consistency.
Consistency. You have to do it over and over again.
And over and over, and finding what those inefficiencies are, and restructuring and putting the right things in place, systems and processes, like you mentioned.
Yeah. And you mentioned something really important, and you touched very briefly on it. But picking the right team, right? It's a big, pretty broad statement, right? Let's get into the nitty gritty in that, right? Because EOS is one of the tools that you actually use to be able to pick the right team. But what other tools or specific technical information or tips and tricks can you share with people so that they can learn how to pick up the right team. I mean, everything that you were mentioning, like the org chart, you were mentioning you got a COO, you have a VP of sales. All of that is not, that doesn't come from thin air, right? It came from somewhere. How did you learn all that?
And I love to share the story of kind of like how it happened for myself and Adriana, how we've gotten to this point together, right? Where she's literally running a large part of the company with the team leads, and everybody has a part in it. But building the right team doesn't, and like you mentioned, doesn't just kind of fall off of a tree,
Right.
It takes time, and you don't just hire a COO.
No.
Adriana was hired as a loan manager, loan officer assistant.
Yeah.
Learning how to make calls, gather documents.
She earned her stripes.
Absolutely,
Right.
more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Reviewing income and pre-approving and understanding how credit works and taxes and so many different things that you have to learn on the lending side to be very proficient in. And then she worked her way up into, loan pre-approval manager, and then processor, and then processing manager, and then operations manager, branch manager, and now ultimately COO. Just imagine all the different skill sets that you have to continue learning to develop to get to that COO position. Now, COO is a very grandiose position. It's up there, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that she's done learning. I mean, there's so many things that we're continuing to learning as we're going through growths and recruiting and growing pains of, what could be a small inner office conflict that just kind of takes some communication within the team and resetting boundaries and expectations. So picking the right team doesn't, it's not just about picking the individual itself. You want to look for people who have heart and drive, but it's also going to require development on the person that you're bringing in, and then development for yourself.
Right.
I don't have a ceiling. I can't give myself a glass ceiling because I don't want there to be a top or a ceiling for any of the, partners, workers, employees, whatever, anybody wants to call them that we have within the company.
Yeah.
Our goal is to help them scale to as big as they possibly can, whether, even if that includes me. I was an incredible originator. My best year I did about 70 million, helped 200 and something families, but I want all of my team members and then some to be able to build to that and continue growing, right?
Right.
Develop their own team, their own branches, which is something that we're looking to do in the future. And what I'm really in love with, Josue, is, and I love lending. I love helping families build wealth through real estate. But what I love even more than that is seeing these individuals develop and being in a leadership position. Being a leader doesn't come easy to me necessarily. It's something that I have to invest in through mentorship, coaching.
It's an everyday thing.
It's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
I mean, reading, leaders are readers, right? How to influence and influence people is a great, the Dale Carnegie book. And I was a little bit of an asshole back in the day. Now I found ways to kind of rephrase myself to be more motivating and empowering to the individuals that I'm speaking with. And there's so many ways, but I have to stay consistent in developing me for my team as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So to summarize it all up, for picking the right team, I believe that all of that came because of your ability or your drive to consistently invest in yourself, to develop yourself as a leader.
And myself and others. Yeah.
Yourself and others. Yeah. But I feel like whenever you invest in yourself as a leader, in turn, that makes you naturally invest into other people. Because at the end of the day, whenever you're developing yourself as a leader, you're not doing it for yourself, right? You're doing it for other people. You're doing it so you can be a better person. You can be a better leader. You can be a better friend, a better confidant. And you're not doing it for yourself, right? You want to do it for the people that you work with, the people that you serve, your clients, your customers, your partners, and everyone. So I think it all kind of just falls into all that together. So that was the second thing. We mentioned the three things that made you successful. Number one is consistency. Number two is picking the right team. What would you say number three is?
It's a good number. Honestly, one that's been really big, consistency and having the right team. The other one that's been really big is, and we discussed a little bit about it, but it's in investing in yourself, right? Making sure that wheel of life is being nurtured and watered in a lot of different aspects. And that kind of goes back to, to consistency and also to having the right team so that you can be able to do things like staying healthy and going to the gym, or having those meetings that you don't miss with your development coach, those meetings that you have with the team. So whatever we want to chalk that up to be, but mentorship has been a really big one for me. Mentorship has helped me with a lot because they provide for me what I need sometimes as a person, is it's really tough to give yourself accountability.
Yeah.
Right. So when you have somebody that can remind you and get on you, whether it's, an incredible friend like you, and we can go, hey, I haven't seen that you've been going to the gym recently, or,
Yeah.
hey, what's going on with that business? You said that you got started. Did you finalize those, whenever we touch base again, every time we see each other,
Right.
did you finalize that process? Did you bring on that A player that you've been so excited and you've been talking about for some time?
Yeah. And I feel like whenever we do it for each other, there's always like, it's never any judgment. It's more so like because we care about each
Absolutely.
other, right? It's like, hey man, like you said you were going to do this. What's going on with it? Like is there anything missing? What's holding you back, right? And I think just that questioning alone is enough to be able to like give yourself a kick in the ass and say, hey man, you're right. Like there's absolutely nothing that's holding me back, and it's just myself. So let me go ahead and get my ass to it and do it.
And sometimes we're looking for just, a sounding board so we can, go over some ideas. And there's different things that work for our businesses that could potentially, we could collaborate on that work for each other.
Yeah.
I mean, you are somebody who motivated me to create systems and processes in place. I remember, I don't even remember where we were in the world on this trip, but what country we were in, and you're showing me on your phone how you have a detailed, the processes and procedures, literally from A to Z, what every player is supposed to do, and that's something that we ultimately created. You kind of, it took me some time, but it was years later, where we do have scripting and a lot of different tools available for our members to kind of take and run and create their own from it based on their personality and their clientele and everything like that.
Yeah, I love that, man, because when you surround yourself with the right individuals, like it just feels like everything flows better, right? And not only that, like we're able to offer each other value, right? This is the struggle that I'm going with. Have you ever gone through this, right? What have you done if you were been in a similar situation, right? And we go on these trips, and we're all over the world. We're in Asia, we're in South America, we're in Europe, we're in Iceland, and the entire time it's just nothing but masterminding. So I think it's so important for people out there to realize that they need to surround themselves around the people that they want to be like, right? Number one. But before that even happens, right? People need to understand that you need to become that person first.
Yeah.
Right. So it goes back to self-development. It goes back to leadership. You got to invest in yourself, right? Invest in mentorship. I think that's something that people really take for granted, but I'm really glad that you and I both took that path a long time ago, and I invested a lot in myself as well. So
absolutely,
super, super huge and important.
Something I see in you, and you recommended a book to me called The Go-Giver. Which you're kind of like coming in from a value standpoint, always looking to add value before you even earn the right to ask for whatever it might be, business or time or a friendship. We see this a lot where. We have a very close knit, we call it a tribe, but our group, our mastermind group, it's very close knit, and people will come in all the time and be like, I love to travel with you guys. And then, I'm like, you don't just earn that right away. It's really tough to help make somebody understand just how close our community is, that group is,
right.
How much we take care of each other, how much we invest in each other. And I'm not talking just money, because we have done that too, right? By sharing business ideas or colleagues or, so many different things.
Resources,
but time, where we'll go work out together, or we'll meet and we'll do so many different things to help each other develop.
Yeah.
It starts by giving.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for anyone that's listening, if you're looking to get, at least plugged into the right people, I would say figure out a way to figure out what that person needs. Figure out, if you want to be friends with someone, figure out what that person needs. Figure out the pain points, figure out what's missing in their life, and then offer it to them as a solution for absolutely free. And I think that, naturally we're human beings. We're humans of reciprocity, and we want to like give back. So if you're giving to me, I want to give back to you, right? So I think that that's probably one really important way for someone to be able to offer value to someone. Figure out what someone needs and then offer it.
Yep.
So, well, Franklin, I think this has been a great episode, man.
Yeah, no, I love being here, and if I could close out with something, if there's anybody out there that's in the lending space and real estate space, and you're looking for ways to grow or scale your business. My phone line's always open. I'll give it to you guys. It's 702-376-6240. I'm sure you can throw up whatever might be the Instagram handle or anything like that. Feel free to get connected with me.
Yeah. What's your Instagram?
Franklin Warens, Warens. We love providing value. If you reach out to us, whether it's myself or somebody else on our leadership team or one of our team leaders or loan officers, we love adding value back to our community, whether it's helping somebody through credit, taxes, income, getting pre-approved, all the way to different things that we do to scale our business, market insights, getting them in contact with whoever we think would be a good fit for them or their business. So guys, feel free to reach out to myself or Josue.
Yeah,
another incredible person with a lot of a tremendous black book of contacts here in the Houston area, and then some.
Quite a bit of context. Yeah,
absolutely. So we'd love to help and add value. If there's anybody that you feel like would benefit from having a conversation with us, that's exactly what we're here to do. We'd love to help them grow.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for joining. This is episode 2 of Pick Up the Phone podcast, and we'll see you on the next one, bro.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.